Welcome back to the Morehammer podcast, your weekly podcast where we talk all things Warhammer on hobby from the past week. On this episode we have the new starter set revealed for Age of Sigmar 4th edition and much more from other games to look at from the US Open preview. We answer some of your community questions and of course we will end the show on our usual Warhammer 20 questions. I am one of your hosts, wargamingluke, but joining me this week are my amazing co-hosts as always. First up we have Ben, aka 90% Geek. How are we doing, bud?
Hello! I'm good, thank you. I'm just admiring you've got the new White Dwarf poster up on your wall. It's replaced the artwork that you've had previously up there.
I did. Sadly, it's a very barren wall. Other than, I mean, people who are listening on Spotify won't be able to see. I apologise, but I'll paint a picture for you. It's the much smaller White Dwarf, 500th White Dwarf poster of all of the 500. Yeah, of all of the 500 White Dwarfs on a poster, but it's much smaller than I expected. So sadly, I'm going to have to fill the rest of the wall with other things over the coming months. So stay tuned for wall filling.
If you're watching or listening to this, send Luke things to put on his wall. I think it would be hilarious if we had community contributions.
He has to do it.
Email him stuff that he'll have to print out and put on the wall. Yeah, within good taste, please. But I think it'd be brilliant if we can just decorate Luke's wall as part of this.
If it's within good taste, I will.
Excellent.
Also joining us, as always, is Simon, aka Hobby Waffle. How are we doing, bud?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's thrown you a little bit, that, hasn't it? Talking about your wall and what you have to put up there.
It has. But I came back onto it pretty quick. But also, we've got an awesome guest this week. Somebody who I've done bits with in the past, actually, and that's Andy, aka Glass Half Dead. How are we doing, buddy?
Hello, thank you. Yes, I'm doing great, as always, in this British heat that I think we're all struggling through today.
It's a double hello, Andy, isn't it, actually? If I recall.
That is, yes.
There you go. For your subscribers, anyway.
That's true, yeah. If you
watch Andy's content
to my channel or Morehammer, you get a double hello.
There you go.
True.
Double hello, that's it. There you go. So, Andy, we also do always ask every guest that comes onto the channel the same question. So we'll have to see what your response is. If you could only pick one kit or box to take with you on a deserted island, which would it be? And
so,
of course, you get your
I feel I need
essentials.
Yeah, right. So the first question is, when you say box, can we pick a big box?
Yeah.
Or does it have
anything?
Oh, okay. Well, I've got to be honest. It has to be. I feel like I'm a shill at this point. Skaventide. And the reason it has to be Skaventide,
I love it.
right, is because I'm very hyped on Spearhead, and you know Spearhead, right? You've got 2 games in one. I'm just saying, 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's a box full of goodness.
Yep. I'm
If you
excited
find any,
for it.
if you find any tribes that you can't communicate with on this island properly, the Spearhead's an easy one to teach, surely.
Exactly.
Very simple game.
Plus,
Apparently,
if you got stranded on a desert island before July, then you'd get it early as well.
Exactly. I know, right? Yeah. That's cool concept. That's money in the bank. Yeah.
No, I like that, Andy. Well done. That surprised me. You surprised me with that one. I like it. Okay, so just before we do get into, I think, our hobby updates for the week, just to let you know, you can either subscribe to us on YouTube, where you got the visuals and the audio, and you can see my awesome half wall of posters, or you can go on Spotify where you don't have to view them, and you can view my wall of blankness, and you can listen to us over there. But please do, either way, if you're on either platform, you can jump across between either one, can follow us on both, that would be fantastic, and of course do leave us likes and comments and whatnot, that would be awesome. Also, join us over in our Discord. Andy's just jumped in there today, so I'm sure possibly if things come up in this show, I'm sure he'll post pictures of different things from his hobbying and whatnot over there. I'm sure people look forward to seeing that. But jump in there, guys, and join us for the chat. All of the links for everything I've just said is in the description below the video.
And you can post, maybe we should start a new thread called Luke's Wall on the Discord, where you can post things that Luke has to put on his wall.
Yes, we will.
Or you better buy some blue tack.
We will definitely create that channel as well within the Discord. Okay, so moving on to hobby updates for the last week, I suppose, what everybody's kind of been up to. Andy, I think usually, to be honest, it's we usually go with the guest if we have a guest on.
Right.
So games, any games or hobbying you've been up to in the last week, basically.
So I've had a lot going on. I'm not gonna lie. Partly because I have to move house soon.
Yes.
And so the majority of my hobby is buying really useful boxes and putting stuff into them, which has turned into quite the endeavour, I can't lie. I have also sprayed up some of my Stormcast dragons because I'd built them ages ago, but then got them bored, so I've just left them. But because obviously with Age of Sigmar coming out, I got them sprayed up, so in theory I could paint them. I won't, but you know, they're there. And what else have I... Oh, I know that you guys aren't really into War Machine, but I quite like War Machine.
I've got a Trollkin army. I love War Machine.
Okay. So War Machine has 2 new card rays coming out, the Ghosts of Ios and the Orgoth Cursebound, and I'm painting those up. They're almost done. I just have to do the metallics on them now. Be honest.
No,
but
don't blame me.
There's more. Jesus. Again, very on brand. With Age of Sigmar coming out, I have purchased a few things. Do we count purchases as hobby?
Yeah. Well, you can let us know what your plans are. Yeah.
Purchasing things is my hobby.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're going to.
Yeah.
You can let us know what you're going to build in base coat within the next, half a year. It's fine.
Build base coat and then put away. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Get a really useful box.
Yeah.
I like this, man.
Lumineth, Realm Lords Spear set, Spear, Vanguard. Yeah,
Vanguard,
Spearhead.
yes.
Spearhead set, Seraphon Spearhead set, and Disciples of Zenith Spearhead set. There you go. This is my pile of shame, but they're coming tomorrow.
Pile of
so
potential.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's me done. Thank you. I see my time. Yeah.
No, brilliant, mate. That's good to hear that you're properly invested in 4th as well. You're really ramped up for that, aren't you?
That is one way. That is a very polite way to phrase my addictions. Yes.
Nice. Let's go round and go with Simon next. Yes.
Yeah, I've also had a lot on this past couple of weeks, so I've not done too much hobbying, but I have been doing some eBaying, or rather taking pictures for eBay and creating drafts ready for when it's, money off the selling fees, because I'm raising funds for the inevitable purchases that are coming, especially after seeing Necromunda. And speaking of Necromunda, I've also had the bio strip out, and you won't be able to see that because it's a tiny Escher Juve.
Yeah.
Cool.
Some of the little curled over hair and the Lasblood and
that's the one, yeah. So that's been stripped back, and also one of the gangers as well with an auto gun. Them two are going to be my Juves for the Escher gang because they're smaller. So the scale difference now is bonkers. Pardon?
That's a really nice idea, using the older metal models, because they are smaller, as the Juves. That's a really cool idea.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use them as my Juves for the Escher. And then I've got the Enforcers out again. I've built a couple more of them. I've got the bug again.
Oh, dear. On to Ben, then? What have you been up to, dude?
I've likewise had a lot on, so I've done lots of hobby, because that's obviously the most sensible way to do things. So as people who may have watched my channel know, I've had building erected in my garden in this last week. It's the new meadery for my wife, and she very kindly let me film one of my videos in there last week. But in between all that, while therefore I've been sat in the garden supervising builders, I got a unit of Empire Crossbowmen, the classic old kind of end of 5th edition multi-part plastic and metal crossbowmen, which were in a terrible shape, a kind of an eBay rescue. So they went straight in the biostrip, spent a couple of days in the biostrip, and then I spent a happy morning cleaning them, assembling them, getting them undercoated, and then getting some base colours on there with contrast. So they're going to be some Talabheim crossbowmen. I cracked on with as much of the Empire army as I could. So I finished off my handgunners. So that's the 10 Hockland rifles now done. I've made some good inroads, shall we say, on the swordsmen. I've got about 10 of the swordsmen out of 20 now done. And then another 10 kind of midway through, I would say. Got the standard bearer of my Knights of the Blazing Sun, 99% done. This was all in kind of preparation for the game I was going to be playing over the weekend. Got the base colours on 4 ogres. Those are the Wargames Atlantic ogres that I was building in one of our early videos. When I was excited to go, yay, ogres! Yeah, I've got 4 of those done. I've done those up in Ostermark, Middenland, Reichland, no, Altdorf, and what was the thing? Oh yeah, Marienburg colours. So I've done a different province for each of the ogres because they're these kind of cool pork pie hats and brightly coloured pantaloons ogres with great big axes. And then I spent a happy evening building Mordheim's Skaven with the Dark Lord himself, Thomas Pirinen, which was pretty darn awesome, I've got to say. So, yeah, I got a whole bunch of Escher and Skaven for Mordheim built. And then I kind of topped it all off by doing a session with in the Gardenhammer, basically. So that's hopefully my video for this week. It's a battle report of Gardenhammer where we've played through. So we've refought one of the classic, what I would say, one of my all-time favourite battle reports from the golden age of Fat Dwarf. It's White Dwarf 229. It's Empire versus Gobbo's battle report. And we refought it using the old world rules. So we thought, well, let's take the armies and try and match them as closely as possible, both in terms of points, but also even down to like the magic items that they had taken in the original battle reports. So kind of cross-referencing over to magic items that are in the current range and try and match their effects. Some of them is like, hey, it's an enchanted shield. Well, the enchanted shield is still in the old world rules. Likewise, the armor of meteoric iron. What it does has changed, but it's there, so we'll copy that over. But we did all of that and then spent about 4 hours playing a great game of the old world, filmed the whole thing. It's going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, if I can get it edited in time, up this Friday. And then I finished things off today by just I got the old Longbeard models and Marauder miniature crossbowman dwarf models that I'd got arrived. So those have been assembled and undercoated. And then I had this sudden splurge of that kind of refight game was so much fun. I want to do another one. What is by far one of the most awesome battle reports that White Dwarf has ever done? And I throw that open to the three of you. What is the most awesome battle report that White Dwarf has ever done?
Simon's going to know better than me.
Pardon?
I say you're likely to have more of a clue than me, Si.
Well,
what is the most awesome battle report that White Dwarf has ever done?
Are you asking me or are you going to tell me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. What is it? What would you say it is?
Well, I've mentioned one to you today, White Dwarf 171 Witch Hunt.
That is a cool one.
Orcs. I love that one, but I think that might just be me because just the way it's written so narratively. 166 is good where Tycho gets wounded. It ended up being set into Lord, didn't it? Captain Tycho. He was just a nameless Blood Angel captain at the time. Got hit by an orc weird boy, and then all of a sudden, new Blood Angels character.
You're giving me ideas of ones to do in the future, but what I'm actually planning on doing is White Dwarf 222, the Battle of Glazers Creek.
I told you you'd have an idea.
Yeah, oh yeah. So I had built ages ago for Necromunda, funnily enough. I built this great big kind of ruined. It was supposed to be like a market building for when they released the market set. So I used one of the Fronteris buildings and a whole bunch of market scenery stuff to make a giant kind of shopping mall type thing. And it's now been rebranded. It's going to be Glazers Creek Farmhouse. So that got itself some undercoat on tonight. I've got plans to get some washes, some dry brushes on, and hopefully try and get that finished, which will help me get some of my Necromunda scenery done, ready for when the Spirers arrive. But also, it will give me the opportunity to fight through the next White Dwarf refight. So yeah, I've gotten so much hobby done this last week after having weeks of not doing much. It's like, oh, and I've painted the Blood Bowl Tree Man for our Little League Blood Bowl tournament. So literally, just been a flurry of paintbrushes this last week.
That's
sorry, go on, sorry.
That old world miniature, Nekaf, Emissary of Cetra.
Yeah, with the long
miniature is literally Ben's hobby updates holding the giant scroll. If any miniature represented you, it's that one.
Minutes later.
I think that's the biggest hobby update we've had since we started the podcast.
That's a good one.
Fair, I'll give you that. That was quite a lot.
I've had a lot on.
Yeah, fair play. Good effort. Mine's going to be very short in comparison. Rather fitting, probably. As everybody knows, I'm deep into my Tomb Kings building now, and everybody knows that Tomb Kings are not easy to build. So I'm like deep into like building tons of skeletons. Basically, it's literally been my week. So I've must have banged out about 30 skeleton warriors and maybe 20 archers in the last week, which isn't bad going because they're not the easiest to build.
You're in front of me now.
Yeah, and only just this evening have I started to do the last number of archers because I think you get 2 units of 16. So they've just been drawing to their bases just before we've started the podcast, I started recording. So that's been my last week, really. No games, because I've been quite busy, so no time for games at the moment. And I kind of want to get the Tomb Kings built up so I can at least play my first proper game of Old World. So yeah, I look forward to getting them done, so I can at least get probably 1,000 points to play with, I reckon. So I think that'll probably be everything except for the chariots in that set, more or less. It'll get me 1,000 points, so I look forward to starting that up, and whenever I get to the games, I'll let you guys know how the first game goes. But yeah, that's more or less it for me. So thanks to everybody for their updates. Very interesting to hear what everybody's been up to. But I suppose, Ben, what is it time for?
And now the news.
Thank you very much. So we will, of course, go on to the plethora of things we can look at here now. Reveals from the last weekend. Well, actually Thursday night, I believe, or Friday early morning here in the UK. Very early morning. We had Skaventide revealed is the new name now for the new Age of Sigmar 4th edition starter set, I suppose you could say. We'll have a look at actually what's in the set. I'll throw it up here on screen for those who are actually watching as well. But we'll describe what we're obviously going through for you guys just listening, and give our thoughts. We've got an image here of everything in the set model-wise. I think possibly the highest model count for a starter set we've had for Age of Sigmar,
74.
to my knowledge. Yeah, which is more than Dominion, slightly more than Dominion was. So I would hazard that I guess that is the biggest we've had. We've obviously...
I think it's 74 anyway, don't quote me on that.
I believe you're right. It's actually down on here, so I'll have a look now. I think it does list everything in it. So there's your models, obviously. But then everything that's in the box, so I'll just go through that first. 24 Stormcast Eternals miniatures, 50 Skaven miniatures, so yeah, 74, so I well remembered. You got 4 terrain features. 4 terrain features are very small pieces of terrain, but you do get them in there. 2 range rulers. The Age of Sigmar core book, as you'd expect, but then I think what really adds the value to this one, which is something we might bring up after, is maybe possibly one of the best value sets I think that we've had, especially for the 2 main major games, especially when you compare to, like, we just had Leviathan for 40k. I think the value in this, all considering, is very good. You have the Spearhead rulebook, which has, as far as we're aware, gives you the rules for playing the game, and also all of the rules for the different Spearhead factions, so the different Spearheads you can use for each faction in the game. You've got the double-sided game board to play Spearhead on. Spearhead card deck, which got like your missions and all that sort of twists and all that sort of jazz in it. And then you've got the General's Handbook cards as well, which kind of gives you that General's Handbook update for the 24-25 season, if you like. So if you want to be up to date straight away with like the match play, tournament play, competitive scene, you've got that there as well. So considering you get all that obviously in the one set, I think that's pretty nice complete set, other than probably, I would say, obviously you're kind of missing some of the other gaming aids, would you say, lads, do you think?
Well, there's no dice, is there, and stuff like that.
Dice.
Yeah, you would have them, and they've not been in the other boxes. They weren't in Leviathan, they weren't in Indomitus, if I recall correctly, and Dominion. So
yeah,
I think it's worth pointing out as well,
the
2 forces in that box are already balanced Spearhead forces as well, aren't they?
Yes.
It says that there's 1,200 points. Now, I wasn't sure if that's 1,200 points total or 1,200 points aside, because if so, that's actually quite a lot of points for what you get, in particular for the Stormcast.
Much like Games Workshop's rules writing, we can also not figure out what Warcom means. It's completely ambiguous. It says 1,200 points, but we don't know if that means per side combined.
Yeah.
Although they have done an exhibition match between Lumineth and Skaven, and the people that know far more about Age of Sigmar than me are very sure, looking at that 2K game that we saw with the number of models on the board, etc., that this is 1,200 points per side.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
So again,
suppose.
I think Leviathan. Well, at least I obviously I got the Ultramarine side of the Leviathan set. The Ultramarines that I had in the Leviathan set for 40k, that half probably about 900 points, because I had to add my Assault Marines to that to get it to 1,000. So I would say that's not far off. So if you think about, I mean, obviously this set I think's coming in. They've said about £160 UK, something like $250, something like that. Is that well? That's what we're hearing. I cannot remember off the top of my head what Dominion was.
It's 150.
Was Was it 150, Andy? Yeah.
Oh no, that was Leviathan. I've got no idea.
So
There
that
you
was
go.
Leviathan.
I
Well,
rescind what I said.
to be fair, even compared to like Leviathan, for example, what you're getting in this set, £10 more, I think that's very good value. Personally.
So I'm just curious, in terms of how, I mean, obviously we don't have all the options. Like this guy, for example, doesn't currently have rules in Age of Sigmar, but a comparable character, how the points would add up if I were to add comparable quantities into this. I'm just quickly throwing that into, what's this Age of Sigmar app called? Well, the one Age of Sigmar app.
We also know that, luckily, thanks to the exhibition match. Because
I was
obviously
say, Andy,
Skaven have
I'll
new
rely
models.
on you for this because I know you watched it. So
I did, yeah. Whereas the Lumineth didn't have any new models, and so we could see every model used in Lumineth, and we could just add it up. The Lumineth army that they used in the match, which was for Age of Sigmar 4, a 2,000 point game, when then ported over to current Sigmar, it was 1,700 points.
So
I've said that the wrong way round.
Oh, okay.
There are less models on the board in 4 than in 3.
right,
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
I
units
said that
are
wrong?
more expensive in 4 than they are in 3.
Yes, that's what
They've
I'm trying
reduced
to
model
say.
count by increasing point size.
I did say it the wrong way round, though. Yes.
Which is an
We know what
interesting
you meant.
change, if so, because previous versions of most of their core games, the complaint has been, in particular, like, as Warhammer Fantasy was winding down, they were decreasing the points value for everything so that they were forcing you to buy more models. This actually will reduce the amount of models on average that you put on the tabletop, thus making it more cost effective.
Indeed.
Yes.
So I mean, like, other than of course the general discussion about obviously like the set itself and value, all that sort of jazz, and how we think the points will work, and the actual miniatures, individual miniatures, obviously we'll skip over ones that Andy, I know you won't have been here previous weeks. We've basically each week we've just had a quick look at the models that they've kind of revealed each week. First, we've had like alternate weeks, Skaven and Stormcast. So some of those will be mixed in here. We'll skip over those, but the ones that we haven't seen, we'll have a little look at. So the main guy, the hero, obviously for the Stormcast lead in there, half of the box, the Lord Vigilant on Griffstalker.
It's another guy on a bird thing. You got
Very-
a long line of guys on bird things.
I know, very gothic looking in comparison. Obviously, the whole kind of like dead inside sort of narrative continued.
Do you think the bird thing is like on its last reforging as well?
Probably.
Yeah, it's looking a bit haggard, isn't it?
Well, we said that about the Griffhound last week, didn't we?
It's doing the same
not a
pose
Griffhound,
as
it's
the
a Kiwi.
Griffhound. Oh, yes, the Kiwi.
Kiwi.
And this one's doing Kiwi pose as well. It's doing beak straight down, head forward.
Yeah. No, but they're definitely all of the. It looks like they're going with that theme with the beasts as well as the actual.
I do like this one. I like that axe. And I like the way
The
it's,
axe
I
is
like
the
the
best bit,
fork
I
as
think.
well. It's pretty cool.
I'd like to see the other side of the model.
Yeah.
I imagine from what you said there, we'll end up getting cavalry that will be Griffstalkers
That'll match it.
as well. Yeah,
That's true, actually, Andy.
that
Good
would look
point.
quite good, actually.
This is
I'd
a
like to match
sinister
it up a
looking
bit.
fellow, isn't it? Lord Terminos.
Yeah, Lord Terminos. So this, I mean, this I haven't really read up on him, but he kind of looks like he matches. Obviously, is it the reclusions that we had? We'll see them in a minute as well. Sort of the insane priests that sort of stand with them to remind them of their sanity.
So his law is that he follows the Reclusians around and kills them.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives them their final death, basically.
There you go.
He's
once
like he's
they-
basically like a chaplain for the Stormcast Eternals, isn't he? Issuing the last rites.
There you go.
See, I took a look at this and immediately thought slap a Space Marine helm on that and a backpack, and that's a new Justicar model. That would look an awesome Justicar. Because he's even got like the hourglass like the Justicar does.
Yep, definitely. No, but it's a cool model, cool individual model, and it'll be cool up behind your reclusions. You got a new Lord Veritant. I believe we already had a Lord Veritant. Is this upgraded version? I could be
I
wrong.
didn't think that Lord Veritant was a thing.
Okay, that's fine then. So that this is new as
We
well.
read something
and you got
similar. That's
Griffhound that we
that's the
already
one with the
revealed.
pet kiwi.
That's the one with the pet Kiwi, yes. I'm quickly checking it out. Lord Veritant.
So many.
No, we did have a
similar
Lord
names.
Veritant.
I
He had
thought so,
a lantern last time rather than a big
Yes,
flamey
yeah,
stick.
yeah. The name stuck out to me, and that's about all I can say, to be honest.
This is another nice one.
It's nicer than the existing model.
Yeah, I really do like this one actually.
Yeah, it's cool.
It is very cool, and obviously
Like
we've
his
seen the
skull
Griffhound
shoulder
last
pad
week.
as well.
Yes, very very cool actually. And Maybe what was the smoke guy's name again, guys? The guy who he said designs the smoke
Joe
one
Smoke.
out every month. Joe Smoke, yeah.
Was it
Looks
Joe
like they got
Smoke
a fire guy
Dave
as
the
well, you
Smoke
know.
guy? I can't remember.
Same department. They got the fire guy out for this one. But yeah, Night
More
Questor.
fire.
He's a very Viking kind of looking dude, I thought.
He is. He's got kind of a Conan vibe. Like,
I
oh,
think
yeah,
that's exactly where I was just
Yeah,
going to go with it.
totally
It's
agree.
like what is best in life.
Very
That's what I was
barbaric.
thinking as soon as I saw this.
What is best
Yeah,
in life?
very-
A big burning stick, a dog that looks like a kiwi, and
I
Joe
like
the
this one.
Smoke guy.
This is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so he's very cool.
That's a D&D model through and through right there.
Yeah.
It's almost taken off the Warhammer iconography and it's just a cool looking knight dude.
It's very much so, yeah.
Indeed.
Reclusions we'd already seen, so we shan't dwell on those, but they are very nice models.
It's the smoke.
Yeah.
And we talked about these as well and how they're much
did,
better than
yeah.
the previous prosecutors.
Yeah,
very
I mean,
cool.
there's certain aspects from the old prosecutors I also like, but I think for the most part, I think these are probably better sculpts. But yeah,
My favourite part is the trident, incidentally. I like the fact that one of them comes with a trident.
that is cool, to be fair.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have obviously the Liberators. Did we see all of these head sculpts, by the way, last time?
No.
No,
No,
I
not
don't
all
think
of
we
them.
did.
Like that one on the bottom right there.
Yeah.
That is a Space Wolf's head through and through, that, isn't it? It's even
Yeah,
got the
so
little
for
diamond
anybody-
thing on the headband.
For
We
anybody
hadn't
just
seen the double-handed one previously either.
no.
No.
I was going
So
to
we're
say
getting
for anybody
10 of these, aren't we? 10
who's
Liberators.
just listening, like where basically it's some of the Stormcaster different heads that you can choose without the helmet, basically, is what we're looking at, and they are very nice detailed sculpts, I must say.
They are. I like the hammerheads are bigger as well. I always felt that the previous Liberators, the hammerheads didn't feel quite right. These look really cool.
Yes, yeah, very cool. So yeah, and moving on to the Skaven, the part that we all really care about.
Yeah. Anyway, now to the really good stuff.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So Clawlord on Norbeast. This is obviously the hero on the Skaven half.
I need a unit of cavalry that are riding on these things,
this
but
is
not
really,
for the reason you
really
think.
nice.
I want a unit of cavalry, and then I want to mount my Cawdor gang on them for the Ash Wastes in Necromunda.
Yeah.
I want
Oh,
Cawdor
nice.
riding on giant rat monsters.
That would be
What
cool,
impresses me about this one is that pose that you can see there is almost exactly how you see it appear in the trailer when it first walks up.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
That is
cool.
very nice. Very, very
I like
nice.
that he's got a
indeed.
repeating rattling handgun as well.
I hadn't noticed that, actually. Yeah, that is cool.
I'm going to give possibly an opposite opinion here. I'm not entirely keen on this model.
Really?
Oh, you're
Yeah,
fired.
I'm
Get
not-
out.
I like
And
the,
on that bombshell, we'll end.
I like the Claw Lord on the top, but I think the rat. I don't know what it is with the giant rat. It just looks like it could be killed quite easily. Like if it tripped over, it would just break its
Very
bones and not be able
frail.
to move. Yes, very frail. Just my opinion.
See, I think it looks kind of wiry. I think it looks like, it's
Yeah.
really leathery and tough and stuff.
It's,
I
yeah, it
see.
looks a
It's
bit.
almost have a simian
underfed.
vibe to it as well.
I mean, one thing I do love about these new models, and we'll see the rat ogres in a minute. The warp stone that's actually like built into their skin is awesome.
It's back bulging out of them, isn't it?
Is very cool. But we got the new Grace here, which a
Which
lot
is
of people
cool.
didn't
This
think we
is
did get a new
brilliant.
one. So
on tactical bit of wood.
Is that a piece of Cities of Sigmar terrain that it's?
No, it's a ruined screaming bell, I think. I think it's supposed to be like a
That
bell
makes sense.
with the kind of part of the bell carriage.
Some little diddy rats coming out of it.
Yeah, which is cute.
I will say, I think the last Grace here looks just about as good. I don't think this is that
Yeah, I'd
big of an
agree.
improvement.
yeah, you're probably not wrong.
Like, not in a negative way. I just think
No.
it's just kind of the last.
Yeah, the
Grace
last
here
one
model
was really good, wasn't it?
This
They
is
just
good.
sort of tweaked it.
Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong, Andy, to be fair. So I think, I said this when the Giselles got revealed. There's not
Yeah.
much more you can do with them anyway, other than put the Grace
Yeah.
here on like we say, on some standing on something, bit of a pose. There's not much more you can do with some models, really.
No, it's
No.
true.
We've seen the Warlock
It's in the
Engineer
Warlock Engineer.
before, the very gentlemanly Skaven.
Yeah.
But this is the highlight one for me. Rattling Warp Blaster.
It's
This thing
very
is awesome.
that is ending up on so many Nurgle Chaos Knights. That gun is going to be. It's going to be. I literally just looked at it and went, "Well, that's a Chaos Knight gun. That's going to be replaced like the Avenger Gatling cannon on a Chaos Knight."
You're not wrong there. Actually, that'd be really cool. But yeah, they had to put some sort of a new sort of engine of Skaven torment in this new set.
Wonder weapon.
Let's be honest. Yeah, they had to put something in there. Very cool model. Very cool. Also, very awesome. The Rat Ogre's probably second best for me.
I didn't like these.
Oh,
I was really excited for the Rat Ogres, and I judge every Rat Ogre basically by the 5th edition Rat Ogres. With the huge wailing arms in the air, kind of huge snarling rat heads. I felt these were a little bit, yeah.
My only criticism would be the poses are too similar.
That's true.
Yeah, that's probably not.
They're all hulched over as well.
Yeah.
So they don't get the height and the kind of power of them.
I'll throw my hands up. I didn't watch the game that they actually played with them, so I haven't seen how big the actual models are. But I imagine, even though they are hunched over, they probably are a fair deal slightly bigger than the original models we had.
Well, I would guess those are 50mm bases they're on. I mean, they might be 60s.
They have
they don't
to
look
be
like
50s,
60s.
I assume.
Yeah.
If they're 50s, then they're only about as wide as they are tall.
Yeah.
So those are
the
probably
basis
5
I'm
centimeters
going
tall.
on is more like the old Croxagores we had. Obviously, I had Seraphon, and if you see the new Croxagores, it's night and day. It's hard to tell via images, but we'll see.
I agree. The new Croxagore are a massive improvement on the old Croxagore. I don't feel these are a massive improvement on the old Rat Ogres.
That's fair enough. We'll have to wait and see till we get possibly get hands on them, but I quite like that. Like I say, the actual warp stone stuck into the flesh, I think, is just a really cool addition. I can see some people doing some really cool paint techniques and things with those details. So we'll have to wait and see. We've seen the warp like Giselles already.
I do quite like those though. I think those are cool.
Yeah. I think they've always been pretty cool models anyway. Like pretty funky. Very Skaven. And obviously his clan rats as well. We'd already seen those. And I think we were chatting on the Discord actually the other day. It looks like we probably are going to be getting boxes of 20 because we weren't sure if we were going to be or not. Just purely from the fact that in the starter set we've kind of seen them pitched in a 20 and 20. Whereas a lot of Horde armies nowadays you only get box sets of 10. So hopefully
like the
we'll get
Nighthawks.
box sets 20. Yes. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one.
As soon as I saw the Skaven contents of this box, I grabbed my old world army builder out and started going, okay, can I build a Skaven army out of the contents of this box? And
can you?
Well, yeah, this stuff, the addition of, I think I went, okay, I've got the vermin, what are they called? The Night Runners that I got to do my Mordheim warband. So I've got those. I've got a spare Skaven Warlord who's not on a giant rat monster kicking around in my bits box. And I kind of looked at it and went, yeah, all I really need is a box of Storm Vermin and a couple of weapons teams, and I've got a 2,000-point Skaven army just using that box.
That's pretty good going.
Awesome.
It's really good going, actually.
That's good for people to know if they're interested in using them for that. Moving on though, that's kind of the miniatures that we hadn't seen that were revealed on Thursday night or Friday early morning. But then sort of the other bits we get in the box, we've already touched on them, but especially wanted to kind of have a look here at the Spearhead. We obviously had the wrestlers face off, didn't we, with the Spearhead game? And basically they've named what they are now. So each half of the core set, you've got the Vigilant Brotherhood and the Northeast Claw Pack. So they're your two named sort of spearheads for each side that you can use out of the box. And as we know, you get the double-sided mats in the box, which is the exact size you need with the objective markers built onto the map. 4 spearhead games. You've got 4 small pieces of terrain to throw on there, which is nice. Did anybody happen to catch it? I know you did, Andy, so you might be able to touch on your thoughts on it. Did either of you guys, though, Ben, happen to take a look at the match that happened with Spearhead?
I didn't, unfortunately. I did get word that nobody got clotheslined through the table, so I was, I just wasn't worth watching.
I mean, I caught about half of it, and then I mostly otherwise just had basically been listening into a lot of people's opinions, because also at the weekend on Saturday at Warhammer World, we had the day where people could go and actually try out 4th edition and Spearhead more specifically as well, I think. So there's been a lot of opinion out there already from people who went to that and tried it in person. And from what I've heard, the majority of people seem to be positive on it. Andy, you I know you, for a fact, I saw your video on it, so I know that you've watched it. Any thoughts? Because I know me and you are both into skirmish side of things as well. So
there's so much I could say, but to keep it very brief,
yeah,
I'm not going to say my own opinion. But I recently watched The Honest Wargamer.
Yes.
Rob from The Honest Wargamer, who went and he just an hour or two ago posted his thoughts on it. And the big takeaway from me was that he said that he had like the final slot of the day before Warhammer World closed. And he is presumably he knows Age of Sigmar. He's probably about as fast a player as you could get. I would assume a tournament player. And the person he went with was also a tournament player. And they did not finish the game. In fact, they only got to the top of turn 2 in the hour slot they were given. And the guy that was giving them the demo did say, you guys have got the furthest of anybody else I've taught so far today.
Oh, wow.
So I just throw that out there to keep people grounded, that when GW says it's an hour game, it's not an hour game if you don't know what you're doing, and not even when you do know what you're doing. So, yeah, that's
interesting.
I just like to look at the marketing speak they're throwing our way, and maybe it is marketing speak.
Yeah.
I'm sure it could be played in under an hour if you know all your rules and you're playing one of the faster armies. I'm sure it is possible, but
yeah,
there you go.
Fair enough.
It looks like it might be fine.
Okay.
I suspect I will play it with all of my armies once, maybe twice, and then say, okay, that was fun. I'm going to play the proper game now. I'm going to go play 1,000 points.
That's fair.
But that's fine. Like, that's okay. It's okay that's all Spearhead is.
Yeah, I that was my takeaway from it, from what I watched of it. It very simple, kind of simplified version of the game sort of thing, and I think it because I don't see them updating it.
I imagine
GW.
Because obviously Skaventide is a launch box, and I imagine that the starter boxes will actually just be, Spearhead boxes.
Yeah.
Buy both of the Spearheads and get the book. I imagine that's the way it would be set up.
You don't think it will be... I was thinking that they were going to take the Spearhead book and stuff out of it, and it would be the core rule book and both armies.
Sure.
But you think they might do it as, here are 2 separate Spearhead boxes and the rule books?
Well, I don't see why they would put the core rules into the Spearhead book. Otherwise, kind of, it seems... Because if you look at the starter box offerings they normally give, you get a bit of terrain, you get 2 forces, which are normally the launch box with some less models, and it kind of seems like, oh, well, that's just Fire and Jade. So I imagine that's what that will be.
It would probably make sense as well from like a sales point of view, because of how they really overproduce the minion. This way they can make so many of the core set for 4th edition, and then they can, like you say, split it all up. Probably makes more sense. It'll just last longer, because otherwise they'll get to a point where they won't sell enough of the boxes and they'll have too many left over again, like Dominion was. So it makes sense, I think. Obviously the core book comes in that set. There's a Black Library novel coming out separately called Skaventide, if anybody's interested in that. Otherwise,
is anybody interested in that? Yeah,
it's by the noted Games Workshop novelist Gary Klostner.
I don't think I've heard of him before, but the Age of Sigmar writers are not the 40k writers, so yeah.
So yeah, I mean, anybody who's interested in that, it's there if you want to,
It's the thing that exists.
You never know. It might be. We'll give it somebody will give it a shot and let us know, I'm sure. But we shall move on. That was obviously the main big reveal just before the weekend that we had, was when we knew that was coming, the 4th edition. But otherwise, let's move on to the Saturday and what we had there. We had 4 different games, the first of which was Warhammer 40,000. We had a couple of new things revealed there. First of which was one of the two new codexes. We predicted this last week, guys, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we got Sisters Battle, or Adeptus Sororitas, I apologise, alongside some Genestealer Cult, and we're getting a bit of a what do you call it? Not Combat Patrol, Battle Force for each.
Yeah, so they followed the pattern that they've done for a couple of previous releases, haven't they? One new character, a Battle Force box, where that's the place where you get that new character first, a Codex, and then a Combat Patrol.
Yeah, like pair up 2 armies, new character in each. The
This
new one that
one-
we're getting here. So go on.
This one's a little bit disappointed, I think. This looks like something you could put together with like spare bits left over from one of the Seraphim or something like that.
It's a
it's
Seraphim
nice.
standing on a bit of broken church.
But it's
Yeah.
If I was a
that was in there.
Sisters of Battle player, I'd probably be a bit miffed with that.
I am a Sisters of Battle player, and I was a bit miffed with it.
Oh, there you go. Then.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, because we had the rumor engine, didn't we, of the that piece of rune that she stood on. So, and I don't. Is it? I've seen other people mention this, but the actual unhooded head version of the head doesn't look right to me. The actual sculpt on it's not fantastic.
I actually think the unhooded head looks better than the hooded head, to be honest.
Do you really?
I do.
Something about like the a face just didn't come out right, but maybe it's just me.
When you zoomed in on it, I saw it. Okay.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tried to
Yeah,
make it
she
look
has
angry,
got a
but it
lot of
didn't quite look
lines.
right. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think the rest of the model's fine. Like you said, I think you just said it's very similar to the actual Seraphim, so nothing's too special.
But she can be armed with a halberd. Like, I've got a jetpack and a halberd, because that's something that ideally suits itself to flying.
It's very
And
Sisters
then,
of Battle.
Yeah. And you're getting the Battle Force, as we just said, with it, in which you get I think 2 or 3 units there, even, of the Seraphim
3.
or Seraphim, whichever you want to build them
Yeah,
as.
you get 3: a Canoness and an Exorcist.
And a fireworks launcher, presumably, whilst they're soaring through the sky, rockets can burst.
An organ launcher.
To,
Call the
accompany them.
Midwife, season 237.
And then, of course, the new codex to come with it as well, to round out that one. But then, I thought the more interesting of the two, this guy's just insane. We had the Genestealer Cult side of it, and their Battle Force, but we had the new character for them revealed, who's the Benefactus, which is clearly not a name rip-off from Dune.
No. He fires mind bullets.
Mind bullets. Yeah.
I like that it's got a tail. You can see a little tail
I
poking out from
never
the road.
saw that before. Wow. Oh my days. Okay. I suppose your eyes just get drawn to the massive brain, and you kind of miss the tail. So, yeah. But I think it's a cool, funky model. Very different.
I think so too.
Yeah. Something different to throw in there for the Gene Stealers.
I was just scroll back a bit. I hadn't noticed before, but there's at the back. It's got a little kind of bionic brain support thing coming off.
Yeah, some support
back.
pistons for his heavy brain. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a great little model. And the Codex, of course, and then we got the new Battle Force for them as well.
Which,
This is
by
quite a
the way,
nice Battle
has
Force.
new artwork, whereas the Adeptus Sororitas one, I believe, has old artwork, right?
The old the Adeptus Sororitas is new artwork. It just
It is.
looks
Oh.
so similar
is
to
it?
the old artwork that you can't tell at first
Right.
glance that it's not the old
We'll
Codex.
put it down as possibly rehashed, Andy.
Okay, right. Good.
Yeah,
I tell you,
inspired.
One of the interesting things about the Genestealer Cult's Codex, they were saying that there's 5 different detachments. So one of them was based around this Bioatlantic Brood Surge Battle Force box. Now you got a faster one where you can use the Atalan Jackals and the Rock Runner and stuff.
Cool.
But there was one called Brood Brothers, if you watch the reveal show, and they said if you pick that one, up to half your army can be Astra Militarum. So if you wanted to do a corrupted PDF Legion or an Imperial Guard unit, up to half your army can be Imperial Guard. That's pretty cool.
That is
That's
very
cool.
cool.
I did not see that site actually, so thanks for throwing that in. That's
Well,
pretty
it didn't put. It's not on the community article. It was just in the reveal show.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
See, that's the thing I really wish that they'd done when they released the Chaos Codex. If they'd done like a Lost and the Damned, just one of the options as a Lost and the Damned, and they'd said, "Oh, up to half of your army can be, as long as your rest of your army is just like cultists and traitors,
Yeah,
half of your army can come from the Guard Codex," and you could have just taken a Chaos, a Blood Pact army or something. I'd have been well up for that. I think that's a missed opportunity for the Chaos Codex.
Indeed.
All the more reason to collect Genestealer Cult, though.
Yeah, I mean they're getting, you got the new character there as well. I think that was obviously the standout, but I think that's quite a nice. I prefer that battle force, in all honesty, to the Sisters Battle one. Just a nice variety in there, to be honest. But yeah, moving on though, the Horus Heresy, and a pretty awesome new, you could say, battle force as well, I guess, for the Mechanicum.
Yeah.
Resculpted models, guys. Am I right in saying?
Yeah.
Or put out into plastic now.
Well,
yeah,
it's not only
plastic.
in plastic, but especially the tech thralls are basically a new sculpt. They're a much better improvement on the old ones.
Yeah. So yeah, Mechanicum Battle Group is what they call in the box. I don't care to know how much that's going to be, but a nice mix of models in there.
Some new weapons for Thalaxi as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think every resculpt in this set is really quite nice, to be honest. I think this was, aside from, we'll go into Necromunda in a moment, probably the nicest reveal.
The one thing that makes me weep is I want to be able to use those Thalax alongside my Skitari in 40k, because we know that Thalax exist in 40k, but they refuse to give us 40k rules for them. And they're such nice models. Look at them.
Have they said they're not going to give 40k rules, or
certainly the Warcom community team on Twitter, the social media team, were quite abrupt with anybody asking, can we have rules for these in 40k? Their responses were, these are 30k models.
Yeah,
yeah, they're trying to draw a line between it, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are. Well, it's because it's different departments get different budgets, but just give us 40k rules, guys. Come on, you'd sell more toys. Come on.
Well, we saw it with Auxilia, didn't we? Like, they didn't bother giving 40k rules for that.
I like the dodgy legs on these. Did you remind me of the Undead Blood Bowl team?
Yeah, tech zombies.
Yeah. I think that's the intention as well.
Basically,
with las cannons strapped to their arms.
Little bayonet fists as well. They're quite cool.
And what are we calling this big tank? You guys all know better than me.
The Trios conveyor.
Triaros armored conveyor.
There you go.
Very nice. I mean, this is standout, of course. Very, very nice.
AKA the big red doorstop.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong, Si.
Apparently, it's pretty.
Whereabouts pour the water to before you start ironing with it?
Yeah, it can ram. Apparently, it's got a shield and it can ram this tank.
Cool.
Wow.
Carry capacity of 22 as well.
Doesn't quite understand the concept of armored skirts though.
No. I also love the little addition of the servos on the side of the guns.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's very cool. I could see a lot of people using the guns off of these for different things. Very nice.
And then being told, no, they're 30k miniatures. You're not allowed to use them.
Yeah, I know, right? But yes. What model are we looking at here? Because my knowledge on
these are the Castellax. So these are the grandfather to the existing Castellan. In 40k, you've got the Castellan, which are essentially like speaking spells with power fists. Like the guy, that you've got the little guy who runs around with a stack of punch wax cards that he has to feed into them.
Yeah, he's putting the Spectrum plus 2 tapes in the back of it.
Yeah, exactly. These, on the other hand, are basically abominable intellects. They are low-grade AI. So this is part of the reason why these do not exist in 40k anymore, or at least they're not supposed to. Although Belisarius Call in one of the novels has a bunch of them stashed somewhere because he's Call and just gets away with whatever he feels like. But yeah, these are the ones that, at least in the old Horus Heresy rules, you had to roll at each turn to see if they suddenly accidentally became fully aware, at which point they might just suddenly decide to go kill all humans and run around murdering humans, because they are basically, they're Hal with a blender attached to his arm.
Skynet.
I was going to say, all I know is dual arm saws is cool.
That is very cool.
Circular saws. And then we got the big guy. Is that right?
Thanatar.
Thanatar?
Pat Benatar.
The, oh my god, please don't let this become self-aware one.
Yeah.
And like the massive plasma-esque cannon on the back. That is
Plasma
crazy.
mortar.
It looks like
Plasma
it was invented
mortar.
by a Michael Bay movie, like the big gun on its back.
Yeah. Very cool. But yeah, I think the whole set, all of the models, very awesome.
This is actually my favourite of the tech breed.
The Archmagus Prime.
Yeah, this is, of the ones they revealed from Mechanicum, this is my favourite. He's such a cool little kind of tech boat.
Awesome. Yeah.
They're definitely trying to have a distinction, aren't they, between 30k and 40k when it comes to this.
Yeah. Him, I've got no bones. I'm going to use him as a 40k as part of my
pretty
Metallica
awesome.
army because he is a cool little tech pope.
He is cool. Yeah. Anything Horus Heresy appeal to you, Andy? You're not big Horus Heresy, are you?
I don't
You're same
really
as
like
me,
Horus
to be honest.
Heresy, no.
Yeah, you're very similar to me, really.
I think
but
all of that
I
is
actually
cool, but I
prefer
wouldn't buy
these
any
to
of it.
Marines, but
yeah,
I've got too much going on anyway. I can't get into another system.
I mean, these are. I have to say though, these are very nice. Some of the nicest models I've seen brought up for Heresy, anyway. So, yes, hats off to the new Mechanicum Battle Force. Let us know in the comments if you're going to be picking that up. But we will move on swiftly on again. And I've gone on to the bottom of this one, so we'll go back to the top. We have Legions Imperialis, the Devastation of Talon. Simon, you predicted this one, I think, didn't you? Was it a new?
Yeah, I said
new
there'd be a
book?
new campaign book. Yeah, so this is only the opening stages of the Battle of Talon, apparently, because obviously Talon's such a huge conflict, they can't cover it all.
The
I bet
biggest
you they do
tank battle in history.
Yeah, they will revisit it, guaranteed, in some future game system or even in this one. But apparently, this is like the opening moves for Battle of Sapphire City and some other bits. There's new formations, new rules. Unfortunately, the new miniatures that you can see on the screen now. So for anyone listening, there's like Space Marine tanks, Solar Auxiliary tanks, but the rules are only going to be in this book, which I don't agree with whatsoever.
That's GW, isn't it?
Yeah, they did it with the previous book. I think it's called The Great Slaughter, and the Space Marine Land Speeders are in there. There will be a compendium guaranteed towards the end of this. You can see it coming, and everything will be in that. But I just don't like, hey, here's some cool new tanks. You need this book to use them. Everything should have been in the main rule books from the start, like they've just done with Old World and they did with Heresy 2.0.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
will
some new
say,
tanks, some new auxiliary tanks as
when
well.
I saw the Warcom headline saying, I just see the word Talon, I'm like, oh my god, we're getting Guard Talon, amazing. And then I opened this. Oh man, I've rarely been that disappointed.
Somebody suggested on Twitter, actually, on the subject of Talon, that the Kill Team game would be the perfect way to reintroduce all the old Guard regiments.
Oh yeah,
like we've got the
absolutely.
Do a Talon kill team, do a Valhallan kill team, but that would give you then all the different Guard regiments for if you wanted to do an army of a particular regiment.
What's annoying with this as well is there's even more little tanks coming, but you still can't get some of the original stuff yet. It came out at launch. Some of it's still out of stock, so the launch has been a bit of a clown show, really.
Games Workshop have had stock issues for like the last year and a half, though. I mean, that is
since Leviathan,
ongoing concern, to be honest. Until they get their new factory and their new warehouse built, and then hopefully that might resolve, and they might be able to keep
but I agree. But that excuse is only going to last so long.
So long, yeah.
You know what? That's why you should play Age of Sigmar, because nothing sells out.
Nobody wants to buy it.
Warcry even more. I managed to buy Pyre and Flood, which released months ago, yesterday.
Yeah,
no problem.
Exactly. No problem. But yeah, I cannot see the speed that they're releasing Imperialis at lasting too much longer, to be honest, because they're
running out of stuff to release for it.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll presumably at some point do Imperialis scale Mechanicum, much like they've just done. Given that they've got plastics, they can just scale them down.
They'll fill the gaps in with stuff like the Fire Raptors that have disappeared and not come back out yet. You know, the aircraft.
Like you said, Ben, last week on prediction video, if there's one thing they're going to release in Imperialis that I will buy just because it's more affordable, it's mini Primarchs, and that's about it.
I would collect
so I can have all the little mini Primarchs.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
yes,
so
exactly.
Cute.
Okay, so that is Imperialis out of the way. I think one of the biggest reveals, I think, at least in my opinion, that we had on Saturday was probably Necromunda Hive Secundus, which you were onto, to be fair.
Called it.
Yep. And sadly, Ben, we will see in a moment. It wasn't the faction we thought it might be for your Xenos Beach Balls, but it was. I did actually say, didn't I, last week, Genestealer Cult? It might be.
You did, and I was like, no, it's the Enslavers. Clearly, it's the Enslavers have enslaved the Genestealer Cult. It's a double thing.
Yeah. But it's basically we've got another sort of expansion to the Necromunda world. Sai, did you want to kind of give us a little thing on? I know you're big into it and you've read into it a lot more. So
Yeah,
kind of what it's about.
Well, so they said on the reveal show as they were doing the narrative and stuff that this is a new season of Necromunda, but then on the Warhammer community article it does say it's a standalone dungeon crawler. So hopefully it's going to be both. It's going to be a bolt onto the Necromunda system, and it's going to expand into Hive Secundus, and this is just sort of your entry point into it. If you don't know what Hive Secundus is, it was one of the big hives on Necromunda, center of learning and enlightenment and what have you. But then some tech priest decided he was just going to do a bit of off the books gene stealer research, and predictably it all went horribly wrong. They tried to contain it with a big wall, and that didn't work, so they just nuked it from orbit basically, and the hive collapsed in on itself. Exactly, I was waiting for that. Yeah, the only way to be sure. But now it's like treasure hunting paradise.
Yep. And we did
so
have...
if I can add a conspiracy theory that I only just put together. I saw it earlier, and and then when I came to record my own video, I forgot about it. But you see on the bottom left-hand corner of the box there it says Zone Necromunda game.
Yeah,
that's
so
not
I did spot this yesterday. Yeah, so do you think they're going to relabel all the other games with that?
No, I think that's this season. So this is a standalone dungeon crawler, and then the next box every 3 months maybe could be a Zone Necromunda game, and an expansion to the dungeon crawl. Maybe
you're not wrong.
Maybe they're going to take Necromunda, which, let's be honest, doesn't get that many releases, and go every quarter like they do with Warcry and Kill Team in a box like this.
That would be very, very cool.
Point.
I literally just put that together, but that sounds right to me.
No, you might be onto something, because so if you scroll down, Luke, to the next picture, that one there. So if you take a look at the scenery in the background there in particular, the column to the right of the guy on the stairs has an inset with kind of broken sections and pipes exposed, which the existing tower kind of kit doesn't. But it doesn't look like it's been converted to me. That looks like it's maybe cast like that. And likewise, the one immediately to the left of the guy with the pistol and knife, where you've got the cracked section. I'm wondering if they're going to release like a sprue that you can add on to the existing scenery set to make these kind of broken and more shattered sections.
Isn't there some terrain in the box if you scroll up?
There is, but it's the standard bulkhead doors, because this is the standard flat mat with wall sections that are just shaded in sections, which I think is that's the one thing I was disappointed with in this box.
Well, there probably will be a terrain box, won't there?
There probably will be, but I mean, I long for the days of the return to cardboard scenery in Necromunda, and how hard would it have been to have thrown some cardstock scenery in there. But if you scroll back down to that picture, Luke, I think that they might release in the next box then. You could be very well right, like they do with Warcry, more scenery each quarter that builds to make a full kind of themed zone. If they released, a sprue that you can add to your existing scenery.
So you're thinking like what they did with Kill Team Gallowdark?
Yeah, kind of. Exactly. Actually, very much similar to what they did with Kill Team Gallowdark. Very similar to what they've done with Warcry, in particular, the kind of the whole season setting Gur. Adding new terrain elements each quarter that builds this ruined Hive Secundus scenery, but equally would work perfectly well for the depths of the sump in the Underhive or something.
Indeed. But yeah, you've got the two sides of it. So you got is it Spire Hunters? These are Spirers. These are Orus Spirers. Yeah. With a random little cherubim thrown in there as well. That's normally something that's supposed to be an addition for the Escher in Necromunda, but I guess the Spirers get them as well, because why not? Yeah. So essentially, like rich kids that get given suits by the house to then go hunting. What we also have. So basically, they've got to gain the reputation and they make a name for themselves. They've got to go and up the kill count. Then in Hive Secundus, so they enlist gangs to go and help them. But I just want to paint them in like ridiculously bright colours, not stupidly bright, but like Subaru blue. Well, yeah, exactly. They're supposed to be cocky youths, aren't they? I want them to look like they're driving supercars around London like idiots. So maybe like a bit of red and white rather than the metallic green, and like the old Spirers, if you know what I mean. I know exactly what you mean.
I like that idea. Yeah. Good theme.
But they are cool models. I must say, every model in the set I thought was fantastic. But Necromunda miniatures are, to be fair, the new miniatures.
Tech hunters are nice, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look
I
really
said
good.
treasure hunters as well, didn't I? When we were talking
You
about
did.
bounty hunters,
You
I said
did, yeah.
treasure hunters.
You
That was just-
absolutely called it on this one. The only thing you didn't mention was that we were going to get completely nightmarish, awesome
Yeah.
Gene Stealers.
I was not
These are
expecting this.
pretty hideous and pretty
They
cool.
really are. They give
These
you,
are
these
by
do give you
far, all
nightmares.
Gene Stealers should look like this. These are by far the best Tyranid models I've seen in a while.
I mean, there was something about, I thought, because I knew we were getting Gene Stealers, I thought it may be a chance we'd get it as part these Beach Ball dudes as like the part of Gene Stealer new release, but it turned out it was Gene Stealers, but inside Necromunda.
Yeah,
like,
and
weird
like
twisted
Nightmare
Gene Stealers.
mode.
Yes.
Yeah, you know it's bad when you got gene stealers, but even the hive mind's like, nope, not bothering with them.
No, they really are
interested.
creepy. Whoever the team are that's worked on these, like, man, fair play. You have to go to some dark places to dream up these things.
Spider stealers.
So these are supposed to be
Spider
Stealers that have
Stealers,
been
yeah.
mutated by a combination of radiation and gravity, like it's graviton waves, because it was supposed to be like graviton torpedoes that they used to try and twist and crush the hive. So these essentially have adapted and evolved to cope with crushing gravity effects and mass radiation.
Indeed. Pretty cool. And you got the
And brood
tech
scum.
hunters.
Then we have the Gene Stealer cult chavs.
So
These do look like they're going to mug you down the park on a Thursday night.
So this is the existing hive scum kit, isn't it? And they're just with extra
It is.
like heads and arms.
They
Head
put,
swap,
like,
they said. Yeah.
Cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller heads on them.
Nice.
Are there a couple of new arms, or are they the same?
Oh, I don't know. I think those are the same arms.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, nice mix up. So again, every model in the set looks fantastic. I think, and they're
I
really
agree.
smashing it out of the park on that. Design
Oh, they've
team.
changed the image of the rulebook. When they first showed it, it showed a hardback rulebook. Now it's a softback rulebook.
Ah.
Yeah, I saw your video site on that
I
actually.
was going to say, if you watch my video, I've got an image of the hardback book in that video.
That's
Okay.
true. And they said that you get a softback in it, but they had a picture of a hardback. That's right. Isn't
Yeah, so maybe there's a rule book to come further down the line.
Don't worry, they will
separate.
let you pay extra for that hardback. Don't
it?
worry.
Separately.
All my
Indeed.
other Necromunda books are hardback, so you know.
Yeah.
And then today, perfectly in time for the podcast, we had a few new minis revealed for House Horror. So we got some other Spire Hunters.
Yep.
Wow.
So we've got the Yeld, the Jakara, and the Malkadon class. The other three main classes of Spirers.
I was
And-
both overjoyed and disappointed with this.
Why disappointed?
Well, overjoyed in the
teams.
fact that we've got the other Spirers straight away, and it looks like they've stuck with the theme, you know, for the different variants. But annoyed that it's all the same kit sharing the same bodies. Well, maybe not annoyed, but just maybe a tad disappointed. But then annoyed that they painted them all the same colour.
That's the only thing I complain about. Yeah.
That just bugs me, especially they painted them the same as the Horus Spires as well. At least go with a different colour scheme and differentiate the Yeld, the Jakara, you know, the Malkadon, paint them different colours.
Is it
So one-
possible? I don't know how it used to be, but from what you just said, it sounded like you could basically take a Spyro with another gang. It used to be. Is it possible that now they're their own gang and you can't?
They were
mix and
always
match?
actually their own gang, so it was
Okay, all right.
previously not a thing. They were essentially like Si said, they are the rich kids from the upper hive who
Yeah.
buy these ridiculously expensive off-world. They're always
I
described
was
as
just going
off-world
to say,
combat
manufactured
rigs.
off-world with forgotten technologies.
Well, the interesting one on the off-world side, this is my one complaint on these, is the ideal opportunity here was to tie into the background they had previously established for these. The off-world technology, they were always described as off-world combat rigs. When the Tau Codex launched back in 2001, there was a little lexicon of Tau words at the back, which includes my favorite Tau word, which is ukos, which means spoon. But also in the back there was the fact that the Tau word for spider is Malkadon. The Tau word for eagle is Yeldi. The Tau word for mirror is Jakara. So it was very heavily suggested that essentially Necromunda Spirers were buying their technology through the black market from the Tau. But obviously
That
the
makes
Tau,
sense when you look at it.
the models that the Spirers had when they were first sculpted, the Tau didn't even exist, so the models did not look like the tech was bought from the Tau. So I was always thinking when they did the Spirers that it would tie into that whole kind of Tau technology. There would be a hint of it. There is nothing Tau.
Well, no, there's a hint of Necron now, isn't there? If you look at the
colour scheme, at least.
Yeah,
well, that symbol
on the one guy,
and all of them actually have got that shape, haven't they, in the middle of their chests?
Yeah, I was going to say, and the suits can self-repair themselves as well, can't they?
Yeah,
that's a bit Necron.
Yeah.
Bit Necron.
I'd like it to be both. Maybe like incorporates elements of both. Plundered Necron bits and Tau black market technology.
True. That would be cool.
Indeed.
But yeah, maybe it's Necron technology which the Watercast has just branded, like the Watercast, the ultimate version of marketing. Well, we've got this technology, this ancient alien race. What are we going to call it?
Yeah, and they found it and reverse engineered it.
Reverse engineered it and branded it with their own branding. They are still really cool, though. They're really cool models.
Test it on some Jacaro.
One of the things we were trying to work out was, when we were talking about the Discord earlier, was one of them has the talons of a Malkador, but the sword of a Jakara. But it explained further down in the article that those are the Hunt Masters. So they're basically a bit like the Eldar Autarch. They kind of borrow from different. They've been different types of suits over the years. They fought in a Khadorus, they fought in a Malkador suit, and they keep the favorite bits of each suit to make their own cool combo. Which I guess is a nice idea. It means that you can make your own cool, unique character for the Spirers.
Indeed. No, it's exciting. I'm glad we had those extra few models revealed today because it just ties onto the reel from the weekend. So nice to have a look at. But that is the reveals from the weekend. Nice lot to chew on, I suppose. We'll jump into community question for the week at the very least. An interesting one actually. Esbon at A2, of course, gives us a good number of questions to chew on over the weeks. He probably thought I'd forgotten about a question that he'd sent in. He sent it in quite a while back, and I had written it down. I hadn't forgotten, mate, so don't worry. His actual original question was to each basically pick a favourite unit or box of models from each edition of Age of Sigmar. But given that probably we haven't all maybe remembered stuff we would have bought from each edition, I thought it would be a bit hard to do that. So I actually had an idea to save it and twist it slightly, so I hope you don't mind, Esbarnet, to basically wait until the new box set starter set for Age of Sigmar came out and kind of twist it into basically listing our favourites out of the 4 box sets once we knew what it would be from each edition. And give it that way instead, just because we'll all be able to remember each kind of starter set from each edition. And I've also got to share here so that everybody can kind of see and remind yourselves of each edition starter set that we had for Age of Sigmar. So first edition, I don't believe really had a specific name like the others did, but was obviously Khorne one side, Stormcast on the other. Fairly nice big set. Then you had Soul Wars, which was, of course, Stormcast Nighthaunt on one side. That was for second edition. And then third edition, of course, we had Dominion, which was the new Swamp Orcs, what are they called?
Cruel Boys.
Cruel Boys, that's the one. Stormcast on the other side. And, of course, this weekend we had Skaventide revealed. So I thought we'd do a fun little thing, and use of the question, I guess. And each sort of rank our least favourite to favourite. You can mix in kind of like your favourite, like the factions from each set, what's included in each starter set to kind of add towards which you think is the best starter set that we've had, or just your favourite, I guess you could say, from sort of fourth to first. So what I thought we'd do, we'd go through each of us to say our 4th favourite. We'll go with third, second, first. Don't have to drag it on each giving our opinion too much, I guess.
Complicated, aren't you?
Well, I'll make it interesting, Si, you know, rather than just blurting out. But I'll go first then for my 4th favourite. I'm going to go with Soul Wars.
Okay.
Purely from the models that we actually got in the set, I didn't think was quite as exciting as maybe some of the others that we've had in the past. I believe you still kind of got the gaming aids and things like that, which is always nice to have in a starter set, so that there was that upside about it. I was never keen on is it Sacrosanct as well, the magical
the Evocator guys.
Yeah, all those guys.
Sacrosanct.
Yeah, never appealed to me as much anyway. That's my specific opinion. So that's my fourth. Andy, your fourth place?
Shockingly, it's actually Soul Wars as well.
Okay. Ooh, interesting.
That's not because I think it's a bad offering. I just think everything else is really good. Nighthawk have never been my thing, and when you think about how good I think the Stormcast have become in future things releases, because they've become the Thunderstrike armor, which I prefer. The Sacrosanct are just looking a little bit meh.
Yeah, they're a bit roby, aren't they?
Similar thoughts to me then, really. Sai, your fourth?
Well, I agree with what you both said about the Sacrosanct. I'm not a fan either. But I do like the Nighthaunt. So my fourth one would be, and purely because I didn't actually have anything to do with it or play it, would be the first one, the first Age of Sigmar box set. There's some nice miniatures in there. Some of the Chaos stuff's really good, and some of the Stormcast are really nice. But because I didn't have any involvement in it, other than actually seeing it in a Games Workshop store when it first came out, at the time I was still like, oh, so this is what's replacing Fantasy Battle, is it? These are quite nice, and then that was it. I didn't really pick up the game until Soul Wars, and I quite like Nighthaunt, so my fourth would be the first starter set, but only by a hair.
Fair. Ben, round us off with your fourth choice.
My fourth choice is actually the Dominion box set.
Ooh.
I really don't like the Cruel Boys models. I don't like anything on the orc side of that. I don't think that they look like orcs. I don't think that they look like anything that's kind of been an orc. The closest I can think is that they are kind of like a slightly not as good sculpt version of the Lord of the Rings orcs. They certainly don't look like an orc that I've ever seen in Warhammer up until this point, and I just don't like them. I also, as much as I like the Thunderstrike armor on the Stormcast, I don't like the fact that it comes with a special character to command the Stormcast. It feels like it ought to just be a more generic leader. So, yeah, Dominion is my least favorite.
No, that's fair. Well, you'll soon find out if how far it's fallen for the rest of us, maybe as well. We'll have to see. I'll tell you what we'll do. Ben, do you want to go with your third, and we'll come back up?
Yeah, sure. My third is actually the very first box. For very similar reasons to what Sai said, I was a huge Fantasy Battle fan, as anyone who's seen my videos on my channel knows, and I was a little bit like, ugh, this is what's replacing Fantasy, isn't it? Then I don't get it. But also, again, it comes down to certainly on the Chaos side. I mean, things like the Kargor and the guy walking a Fleshhound model is cool. If they just made it a generic Chaos Lord of the Fleshhound, I might have liked it more than, no, it's this special character. He's in all the books, and it just made that it didn't feel like a something that I can put my own stamp on. It felt like it was something that was trying to stamp on me. So yeah. But that being said, I do like both sets of the models in there. I've used the Blood Warriors that comes with that to make a whole bunch of Nurgle Chaos Warriors with some heavy conversion. I've got a whole bunch of the Liberators and the Retributors and stuff that came with that. I am glad that they have replaced the Prosecutors that came with that box because they're a bit shonky. But yeah, that's my third choice.
Okay. Sai?
Soul Wars is my third choice.
Okay.
I like the Nighthaunt, but I don't like the Sacrosanct Chamber. There's nothing in the Stormcast side of it in that box that makes me go, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
It's just for me, it was all a bit, it's all right. But I like the Nighthaunt, so yeah, that's my third.
And Andy?
My third is going to be the first edition. I
getting a theme now.
Can appreciate it for what it is, and I think very cool. I think the Chaos side's brilliant and holds up today. You were complaining there, Ben, that you don't like the guys being named characters. That doesn't bother me at all. The Stormcast side, yeah, they're the old Marines, and I'm sorry, they're not Marines, are they?
They're the Sigmarines.
And that's going to annoy some people.
I feel like we've advanced. I really like the Prosecutors from there, but everything else I think has been upgraded. So yeah.
This is going to be really interesting going into the top ones here. All right. For me, Dominion is third. Basically, I'm not going to add time to this. Ben, similar to what you've said, I don't like the Orcs particularly. I never did when they first revealed them. Also, I always, as we all know from previous topics we've had, wish they were the Famir instead. So that's all I'm going to say. Moving on to second. Second for me is actually Skaventide.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which for anybody who wants, and obviously at this point we'll probably give up what the first choice is, I guess, here, given that it's obvious now. So I'll run through what my order was again. Soul Wars for me, followed by Dominion, followed by Skaventide, the new box set, and the first edition box set for me is actually top. I am a fan of the old chunky Stormcast, compared the old chunky armor compared to the new sculpts. I actually prefer the old ones. So that kind of side of that set for me is it the Draco line in there or whatever it is? I think it was in the first edition set that he's riding.
Yeah, he's riding a Draco. No, it's
always. I don't think it is a Draco line, but it's one of those.
Something else, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Dracoff, possibly. Yeah, you could be right there. And then obviously, Andy, you just touched on it. The corn side of it, awesome. For me, one of the best sides of a starter set still to this day. I love that side. And then you get the kit and everything with it. Luckily, we're not bringing rules into this because first edition of Age of Sigmar was not good, at least in my opinion. Please don't hate on me, Age of Sigmar fans. But yeah, other than that, we're talking models and what's in the box. Number one for me is first edition. We'll go back down. Andy, your second and first.
So my second best, I'm going to do Dominion. My first, I'm going to do Skaventide. I feel it speaks for itself. I also do not like the orcs.
It's funny that
they never spoke to me. Because I love the Iron Jaws, the chunky, cartoonish orcs.
Orcs, yeah.
I feel like you touched on a little bit there again, Ben. When you said they look like worse Lord of the Rings orcs.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they look better.
They look like
Lord
Randall from Monsters Inc.
But they still don't look particularly good to me. So they're a bit nothing. So that's a whole side wasted in my mind. But then I think that the new Thunderstrike guys, and I think your Drasta looks amazing. I think the Stormcast side is so good that it brings it almost 50-50 with the first edition box for me. They're very close because I love everything. Yeah.
My favourite Stormcast half we've had actually would possibly be Dominion. I do like that half. The Stormcast in that one.
That's possibly an interesting question we should do after this, which is if you could pick a Stormcast side and a side from one of the other ones, which ones would you pick?
Yeah, we might quickly throw that in actually after. We might do that.
And then Skaventide because you get everything's cool there, and you get Spearhead. You get 2 games. There you go. Cool.
Yeah, awesome. Sai, your
second is choice? Dominion. I really like the Stormcast side of that box. I think it's brilliant. There's nothing in there at all that I don't like. I love the Vindixers. I think they're awesome. I love the Thunderstrike armor. Yeah, just a really, really strong half of the box. The Cruel Boys, yeah, I don't really like them. They're a bit too tall and lanky, like I just said before. They look like Randall from Monsters Inc. That's what they remind me of with the long necks and the face. They just don't do it for me. But Stormcast side, absolutely top notch. And then top is Skaventide for sure. Everything in that box is just amazing from what I can see. And like Andy's just said, you get Spearhead side of the box as well. It's like an almost 2 games in one. It looks like it's going to be a mega box.
Ben, top us off.
So yeah, I'm ranking Nighthaunt in second place for me. I love the Nighthaunt models, and as soon as I saw this, I was like, I need the Soul War. Sorry, I need the Nighthaunt half. I have a Nighthaunt army composed of everything you get in that box and loads of other stuff. I don't mind the Sacrosanct Chamber stuff, to be honest. I mean, the maces I thought were a bit of an odd choice. I would have rather have seen, given that we had hammers in the first box, I would have thought swords, because my take on them was they're like, oh cool, these are like Stormcast Jedi. Like, this is every one of these is a wizard. How cool is that? And they've all got Jedi robes on. So, I mean, to the point where I've looked in the past of just converting. I might do it now that they're just going into Legends. I might just lop the maces off and give all of them swords, because I think they just be really cool Stormcast Jedi. But yeah, Skaventide is my number one. Aside from the Rat Ogres, which I have about, there is nothing in that box I don't like. The Stormcast half, every model in that is glorious. The fact that I've got basically an old world Skaven army out of that, if I get that box, is amazing. And yeah, the fact you get Spearhead in there as well as a set of separate second game is a really cool contribution.
Nice. Let us know as well in the comments, guys, what your kind of ranking would be, I guess, for the 4 starter sets that we've had. Be interested to know if anybody else hasn't put Skaventide in first there, because I thought I figured I'd probably be the only one that wouldn't have put it top, but it's more just because I do kind of prefer the old Stormcast, really, so that's what leveled it off.
Let us know in the comments as well if there's anybody out there who actually likes the Cruel Boys miniatures.
Yeah, I mean, if you want like a scenario there to kind of tell you why Dominion didn't sell that well, you know, there's literally a real life test we've just done as to probably why.
Let's very quickly then. Let's do going down from the top. Luke, which 2, if you could pick a Stormcast force, and one of the other forces, which one would you pick if you could pick?
No real reasoning here, just for time wise. I was gonna say. It's very boring for me to say. I would probably just leave it as first edition. I'd pick both sides. But if I had to mix anything, I think the Stormcast half from Dominion with Yndastra in it and the Skaven half from Skaventide. I think that would be really nice half and half, personally. But Andy?
So, to be quick, I'm going to say I'll take the Skaventide Stormcast, and I'm going to take the Khorne from the top.
Oh, no, nice.
Which is really sad. I don't want to give up the Skaven, but I'll mix it up anyway. Why not?
Si?
Skaventide. I'll be happy with both.
No, that's fair. It's tough to be fair.
In the interest of saving time as well.
Yeah. Ben?
If I didn't have the Nighthaunt half, then it would be the Skaventide Sigmarines plus the Nighthaunt from Soul Wars.
Okay. Yeah. Because you like the Nighthaunt, don't you?
I do like Nighthaunt models a lot.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad we did that little bit as well, just to see what we'd kind of mix from each box. Let us know in the comments as well what you'd do, which you'd mix up, I suppose. But that will probably do us for our community question this week, because it was a nice kind of rounded out one, I suppose, for this week. So I enjoyed that one, to be honest. But it is that time that we look forward to every week. It is, of course, Warhammer 20 questions. And, of course, we have Andy on as a guest this week. Don't worry, Andy, you have the guys with you as well. It's not just you on your own. So the 3 guys this week, as we do every week for anybody new to the channel, Warhammer 20 questions. Basically, we have viewers send in suggestions usually for a character or unit from the lore, or they might have a miniature from any of the Warhammer games or novels, whatever it might be. And the guys have 19 questions, 20th being their guess for whoever they think it actually is. And they'll work together asking questions basically to try and figure it out. This week, I was having a conversation with Mendy 2.0 on Reddit. I'm not going to say where I was having the conversation with him, because that will give you a hint as to what the actual thing is. But he did, after having just a chat with him about whatever this subject matter was, he came back to me a couple of days later with a message saying that, because I'd mentioned the podcast, he said, really, I've actually enjoyed watching it. And he said, I do have a suggestion for the 20 questions. So he's basically sent in the suggestion for this week. So I guess, guys, and Andy, I believe the guys usually let the guest go lead with the first question. So
no pressure, Andy, but we are undefeated.
Just to clarify,
12 weeks undefeated on the trot.
The thing that we're guessing at, is it an individual?
So it can be. It could be. So you can basically narrow that down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That wasn't my question. That was. Yeah.
And obviously, you can communicate between you if you're not sure on the questions, you know. But yeah.
So
let the
I'll
questioning
start.
begin.
Yes, so it has to be a yes or no question as well. I don't know.
Yes, of course. Yeah, should have mentioned that. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I feel like my first question is probably a good first question. Should I just actually ask? Is it an individual?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Not a bad question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good question.
That's one.
Does this individual reside in the mortal realms?
No, they don't. There's no meta this week.
Does this individual reside in the 41st millennium?
They do indeed. That's 3 questions.
Is the individual currently alive?
Yes. To our knowledge. The last we heard of them, basically.
Does this individual have a miniature model?
No. That's 5.
Okay.
Has this individual appeared in a Black Library novel?
They have appeared on a Black Library novel, yes.
Okay.
That's 6.
Is this individual a human?
No. That's 7.
That narrows it down considerably because
Yeah.
there are not that many Black Library
Doesn't
novels.
have a model. Is
Oh, hang on.
alive.
But it doesn't have to be the main character of that novel, does it? It could be like the villain of that novel, for example. Because I immediately thought, like, okay, it's going to be either the Orcs or the Eldar, because they're the only, or the Tau. They're some of the only ones who've had their own novels. But that doesn't mean it's their novel.
Is this individual considered a leader amongst their peers?
To my knowledge, yes, kind of, yeah. Not like you. So, like in the if you think about them from like the game or the lore, you wouldn't consider them to be a leader, but within their novel, they act as that.
Oh, it is their novel. Okay, that's a nice little giveaway.
That's a good little yeah.
You said too much.
I did.
You might have helped us there.
Yeah, that'll definitely help
Does this individual have green skin?
you. No. That's
Okay.
9.
It's not an
I
Orc
was
or a
thinking
Grot.
as well.
My brain immediately went Makari, so.
Okay.
But he has a model, doesn't he?
So it's not an orc.
Not an
It's a
Orc.
very interesting one this week.
So I guess we're thinking it's not a human.
So we're thinking Xenos.
So it's probably an Eldar, isn't it?
Eldar
Is this
or Power?
individual an Eldar?
No, that's 10.
Does this individual have something to do with the Necrons?
No.
Oh, good point, because it could have been like Traz in the Infinite or...
Well, he's got a model, but it could have been one of the lesser known.
Both of them have, that's true. Yeah, there's several Necron characters that feature in the... well, those two... I don't know what they're called. Yeah, anyway, it's not a Necron.
Yeah.
Is this individual part of the Tau race?
Yes, that's 12.
Okay.
Ooh.
And it doesn't have
How?
a model.
Doesn't have a model.
Does not
It's
have
not Farsight.
Does not
and
have a
it's not Shadow
specific
Sun.
model, but that you've kind of figured out its characters. So yeah,
And it's because you said yes, I'm just extrapolating. It's
No,
a
that's
Tau, not
We could do with working out whether it's
something.
Kroot or Tau.
well, the Tau race is a Tau. It's
Yeah.
not the Tau faction.
I have some thoughts on who it might be.
Well, I'm drawing a blank. So who?
Can we establish what caste this character is from?
Sure, yeah. Oh, how am I phrasing that as a yes no?
You'll have to pick one and
Let's
say
pick
is
one of
it
the
from
castes and
the...
ask.
Is it a member of the Firecast? Okay.
yes, it is part of the Firecast.
Okay, I can
That's
only think of
14.
one person. that-
Sai, ask if he's been in a video game.
Yeah,
We're thinking
But I-
Fire Warrior, the
yeah.
game, aren't we?
yeah. The
Has this
can we
person
make
been
that
in a...
guess or do we only get to guess once?
You only get one guess.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
we can dance
Has-
around it now.
Yeah.
Has this person been in the PlayStation 2 game Fire Warrior?
They have. That's 15.
Is this character essentially the Tau version of Sly Marbo?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, let's be
Any
clear,
other
guys.
daft questions?
we do remember his name, right?
Oh yeah, I know his name.
Okay, all
You
right.
do know his name. That's fine.
But I'm checking. I think Luke may be wrong on one thing. I think they did do a limited edition model to tie in with the video game.
I
release.
believe they did. That
I'm
does
checking
ring a bell
that
for
now.
me. Yeah.
Was it not a diorama where he was not on all the skulls?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I think so.
Or was
Oh,
it not
really?
like a fun like?
Was it a
kit bash,
model
or was
though?
it an actual
Wasn't
model?
it a miniature? Was it?
It was a miniature. I'm checking now.
Okay.
Is it? Can I guess?
Yeah, go
I
for
think
it.
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Chateau Kai's. Is it?
Yeah,
Kai?
that's right.
Yeah, there you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
named
And he
after
did
his father.
indeed
Kai.
have a promotional
That's like
model.
Kai.
Okay, he had a model as
Yeah,
well. So
that's our boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
What's the back?
oh, cool.
he looks crap. If I'm honest.
Okay.
Thank God for
He's not got his helmet on.
technological advances.
It was 2003 that this game came out, so I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
And they did. They made a novel based on the video game storyline as well.
They did, and also he has featured in the Phil Kelly Farsight novels. He has been mentioned and featured in the flashbacks because he's one of the 3 pupils of Master Puretide. And yeah, so him, Shadow Sun, and Farsight all studied under Puretide, and in the flashbacks he features.
What's his name then?
His actual name.
No. So sorry.
Like he had Shadow Sun and Puretide. And I don't think they ever gave him one.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a shame.
He was too cool for that.
Too cool, yes.
Fair enough.
Too cool for school.
Right.
But yeah, that was a good suggestion.
His name should be Dual Shock in honor of the controller for the PlayStation.
That's a good one.
And to give you a bit of background as to how that one came up, I was in the Warhammer Reddit on a thread with our podcast that we did on our most wanted video games, Warhammer video games, and he just started a conversation with me about old Warhammer video games, and so I think that's why he wanted to send in the suggestion for Fire Warrior. But pretty cool. And next week, by the way, guys, we do have, I think it's on Thursday night again, possibly. I can't remember. For the we have video game reveal day. So, yeah, that should be interesting. So we'll have that next week to chat about. But that is it, and a wrap-up. Another victory for the guys for Warhammer 20 questions.
Undefeated.
Despite my wrongings on the model there, but hey, at least you got it right. That's good. But if you want to send in your suggestion, guys, please do. Just like Mendy did there, you can email me wargamingluke@gmail.com, or you can message me wherever, like Mendy did on Reddit, and send in your suggestion for another week. But otherwise, we'll close out there, and I'll thank the guys first for this week's show. Ben, where can we find you, my friend?
You can find me over on my channel, 90% Geek. I am also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and all the other socially threads with the same handle.
All that good stuff. Si?
Yeah, find me on YouTube as Hobby Waffle. Same again for Twitter and Instagram. Latest thing, just done a video on all the reveals over the weekend, so you can hear me getting ridiculously excited at Necromunda Secundus.
Awesome. And Glassmate Andy, thanks so much for coming on, bud. You've been on my mind to invite on for a while, to be fair, so I'm glad we got in touch again to have you on. It was a good chat. Good catch up at the same time.
Thanks for inviting me. Yeah.
Where can people find you? Because your channel is
so I pretty much only do YouTube. Apart from that, I'm a complete social recluse. And my name is Glass Half Dead over there. But my name's Andy. I've said that wrong, but you get it.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll put a link in the description to everybody's channels, including Andy's for Glass Half Dead. You can go and check that out. Please do, guys. As for myself, I'll be here on Morehammer for the moment, and of course, you can find me Wargaming Luke on all the socials, mostly over on X nowadays, or Twitter, the real name, let's say. Yeah. But otherwise, guys, thanks again for watching or listening, and until next week, happy wargaming, guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you.